Okay, so today I thought it'd be a good idea to talk to you a little bit about Arathi Ma. You know, seeing as a lot of people are asking me about Awakening with Arathi Ma, the book that I wrote, and some people ask me, hey, great, you wrote a book, what is an Arathi Ma? So I thought it'd be kind of funny to, show you who Arathi Ma is and how she was pivotal in starting my spiritual journey many years ago. And, it's a funny story, and it's all in the book and everything, but really what it was is that I heard about this amazing healer, and she had been doing healing for over 2 decades, and I had to go see her because she was just such an expert in consciousness and how it worked. And when I started to see her for a few sessions, I started to discover that she was more than a healer. She was actually a spiritual guru as well. And through a lot of different sessions and a lot of different transformations and a lot of ups and downs, here I am today, and now I'm making videos for you. So I thought you should meet the person responsible for all of this. And here she is. So thanks for coming here, and thanks for being on my channel.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So a little bit about Arathi Ma. Arathi Ma was an artist, and still is. And I'm actually, funny enough, I'm wearing some of her art right now on a t-shirt. She was also a nurse for 10 years. And she also was a practitioner of energetic healing for, well, it's over 20 years now? It's about 20 years?
25 years.
25 years, mm-hmm. Okay. So she can speak from a place of expertise and experience in this whole realm called spirituality. And she can hit it from different levels, many different levels. I'm kind of like an extremist. Sometimes I take people right to the absolute truth right away. But Arathi Ma is much better in hitting people where they're at and helping get them to the next step. So I thought it'd be really interesting to have her speak a little bit about her process and how she works with people, and how this entire world called spirituality is evolving today and how it will affect you. And because I know all of you are looking for what is right for you, to find what is the right type of path, what is the right type of healing for whatever it is you're dealing with in your spiritual journey at this point. So here she is. So, the first thing I want to talk about is that there are a lot of spiritual healers out there. There are a lot of people that are professing to know the absolute. There are a lot of people professing to be enlightened, or people that are professing to be the best healer ever. I mean, 5 minutes to absolute enlightenment and freedom from all karma and all physical disease and harm, right? And some of them might be actually telling the truth. I'm not here to say that they're not, because there are some pretty amazing healers out there. But what I wanted to really say is what is really unique about your healing? Because I know what it did for me, and I know what it does for a lot of other people. And I know what I know today because of all the process that you have put me through, and some of it has not been painless. But at the same time, I thought it would be great for you to really explain from your position of expertise what is different, what is unique about your healing modality?
Yeah, good question. I think what's very unique about what I do, and I'm not saying I'm the only one, there are very likely other people who do the same, is that it's not so much about the method, the modality, or the technique. It's actually about the healer herself, in my case, myself. It's about I am the focal point through which the universe functions and works and makes the healing happen. And my job is to bring that through, true to my configuration of consciousness, true to my blueprints, so that I express that truly to my best ability. It doesn't really work when we get up to the level of miraculous healing or being extremely successful on an ongoing basis. When you apply a method itself, like there are modalities like acupuncture, there's healing touch and Reiki, and so many other new versions of healing. And the people that are really focusing less on the modality, but actually on the mastery of themselves with the modality. There has to be a true marriage between the modality and the person, the perceiver, the consciousness that is using the modality. And when there is a merging and a union with that, that's when mastery is born. And so there are lots of healers that have less mastery, and then there are those that have more mastery. And they're just using the modality as it's like a paintbrush. Everybody is a tool, but everybody will paint differently. Something else will come out of it. So it's not about you know, what you do. Oh, I'm going to do acupuncture because that's going to fix maybe my arthritis or something. It depends who is the acupuncturist. And it's not that some people are not very good at it. They'll probably really apply the right methods and exactly what they learned in school, but there's maybe not even wired, and maybe acupuncture is not the best tool for that person. Actually, maybe that particular doctor or Chinese doctor would be actually way better doing something different.
So it stems from identification.
Identification, exactly. It comes down to who am I, the realization. It comes back down to self-realizing who you are. So essentially, it's because none of us is really doing the healing. It's the universe, it's God, Source is doing the healing. And how can I truly be, what's the most effortless way to be myself?
Yeah, the deepest self. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so with a lot of the healers out there now, I guess that would be why a lot of debates take place about what is the best modality. Really what they're doing is mixing up the person, because there are always stories about the amazing Qigong master, and then the amazing Reiki master, then the amazing yogi. Yeah. And that means yoga is the most amazing, or Reiki is the most amazing, but really what it boils down to is to the person practicing.
Exactly, yeah. Okay. That's right.
Yeah. So your healing modality would be original in the way that it is you. You healing, I guess.
Yes.
So that's what you're saying.
Exactly. And so I have, because I've done it for so long, and I actually started way earlier, not knowing that I was actually already being in healing training when I had experiences like Kundalini awakening and all this. You know, maybe we talk more about that. And so, but once I became conscious that, oh, I'm actually not seeking I'm not seeking really a healing modality. I was always seeking to be more conscious. Yeah.
Seeking the highest truth within yourself.
Exactly. Yes. And the side effect was healing.
Yes.
Yeah, the side effect was healing.
So the paradigm has shifted.
Yeah.
So you started off, like so many people come to this channel, or they come to a spirituality channel, whether it's a psychic or a medium, and they're always asking, how do I fix myself? But the paradigm by which you and we've had many discussions about this, but you started your journey saying, who am I really? Instead of, let's fix this thing that I think I am.
Yeah, I think I was blessed with a lot of pain that was always sort of irking me to actually really, I knew that nothing would fix anything because I knew that I was the perceiver of everything. I knew that already as a child. Not everybody has that experience, but I did have a very unique remembrance even at the age of 10 in the middle of my room where I was conscious, cosmic consciousness looking through my eyes, not this body. And then I just was again reminded that like it's more really who am I. In that moment the experience was there were no problems. The perception changes, the lens of seeing reality changes. And so essentially if a healer, a good healer, a really good true healer, has to be able to change the perception of the person who's ill, because the illness is an illusion essentially. So that's the level that I work from, but not every healer works from that level. There are healers that work, they work in the realm of flowing energy. And when we flow energy, we move flow energy from one place to another. So there's still time and space, and in time and space there's always sickness and there's health. And so there are healers that actually believe in to some degree in disease and in health, and they're seeking to heal somebody. And they do it from their good heart, but a true healer essentially will have to enter a state of enlightenment where they actually are able to transmit and share through their beingness and their clarity that this disease is not really to who they really are.
So they have to transmit freedom from the reality.
Freedom from the reality is the highest healing.
The sick person knows.
Yeah.
And the only way to give that to a person is to be entrenched or inside that reality, the reality beyond this reality.
Exactly. Yes, they have to experience that. They have to be touched by it.
Yeah. So you have to Wi-Fi them into a higher state of consciousness.
Yeah, I like the word Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Okay, because we're in the internet age, right? Everybody.
Exactly.
I always say to people like, well, you know, that's amazing. It's impossible for you to transmit a meditation space to another human being. That's unbelievable. But I said, well, how does your cell phone work? How does the radio work? And how does your Wi-Fi and your internet work? It's all about transmission.
And it does, and transmission is true, but that is actually also represents to me the fifth dimension of consciousness, because there's still transmission. It's just instantaneous. But I'm even talking of freedom of the remembrance that who you are is already free, is already healed, and that is nothing has to happen. There is actually no time and space. That's the ultimate healing. That's the realm of the miraculous, where things happen that you can't explain. It's something that happened just like I had a couple of situations last week in my office, in my practice, that just happened, and I can't tell you how it came about. I just know that something significant happened. I often experience certain, I watch certain things on the other dimensions that take place, and then I can sort of logically maybe kind of reason, I think that will probably result in this and this. But essentially that's even at times out of my grasp. The universe is very huge.
Well, the mind is limited in its understanding.
Everything that takes place in the healing can't all fit into my mind. My mind is only like a small teacup. So as I engage in healing, a lot of things happen that I get maybe pieces fit into the teacup, so that I say, I think this and this goes on. But essentially I can't see it all. The mind can't comprehend that. And that's why. And that's really good, because we, as a true healer, we allow ourselves to totally let go and surrender. So it's just really about you're very focused and really holding that space of reality that you know, that you're being. And at the same time, you let go at the same time. So.
Great. So knowing that, what makes your work original is that it's you that's sharing your level of consciousness with people, and you find different doorways that, I guess, USB ports in a person to share this, and different people at different levels, and sometimes they can take a spoonful, and sometimes they can take a bucketful, and sometimes they take a swimming pool full, like myself, but you just spoon feed them. So, one question I like to ask is, who are the people that would benefit most from your work? Like, what are the ideal clients for you to work with? Who are the people that are ready, I guess? Yeah,
I want to add something to what you just said, is that it's not really like that I'm doing the healing, it's the divine doing the healing that's coming through that configuration, that's me. And the ideal clients are the ones that are open-minded, the ones that are ready for breakthrough, the ones that know that energy exists and is utilized for healing. They know that they can actually completely shift their reality. They are excited to grow. And there are people that are not stuck in the mindset of blaming, and are very stuck in the paradigm of separateness. They actually do believe that they are part of something, like that there's a greater power and they're part of it, and they want to cooperate with that. And also little children, because they haven't, underneath, below the age of 7, children are not, they don't need that scientific explanation why this needs, first I need to understand this and then I'll let myself be healed.
They haven't developed the inner cynic yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So those are the ones that are really great to work with, and I love working with people that are just, it's a very adventurous, where we're co-creating a new reality together. Yeah.
So sometimes I refer to some spiritual masters as spiritual buzzards, because they wait till a person's experienced enough suffering so that they're actually ready to open up. Because sometimes the suffering is what opens most of us up. We start to get very open-minded when we start to see that all of our plans and everything start to fall apart based on what we think is to be true, right?
Yeah, and then this person will suddenly meet a healer, or just that's how people that
because
show up.
I approach you as a cynic. I was the worst cynic ever. I would always be I'm open because I love this energy, but at the same time, should I embrace it or not? And it took me a little while before, and multiple miraculous sort of things that would happen.
Well, it was a great gift, because you tested me to go beyond that negativity, that you threw at me, and just say, no, the reality is still reality, and it works even if you don't know and you don't believe it.
It was good, because part of me, see, the difference is that I think part of me wanted to believe it. So I think that's the most important thing. That there can be cynics out there that don't believe in things, but if there's a part of you that wants to believe in something greater, I think that's enough, and that would be devotion to whatever's greater than your own idea.
Yeah, that was
yourself.
a very good big factor, that you brought.
There are a lot of different types of healing out there, and I guess what I would like to ask you is, what are some of the different types, and how do they apply to people at different stages of their spiritual path? And I know this is a really big question, really complicated, so you don't have to go into all the different types of healing, but just, what different types of healing would you apply to people at different levels of the spiritual path and where they're at? Because everybody needs something different, right?
Yeah, and not everybody who is needs healing, they think that they're on a spiritual path. They just might have a disease or an illness, and they just want to be fixed, right? So, but yes, everybody's on a spiritual path. That's just the way the world is, even if people don't know it. So there are different, there are lots of modalities. And like we spoke a little bit earlier, it's not so much about the outer packaging and the tool, it's more about the healer and where they're coming from and what the level of consciousness the healer is embodying. So a healer that embodies a very clear level of consciousness, they can, use their tool and adapt to what the person needs. But I, for example, don't use acupuncture needles. I don't use drugs. I don't use herbs. So somebody who that language is better for them, they really should go into that to that practitioner. And the people that are the people that know that the mind is really a big part of changing your reality, they really do well working with healers. Doesn't mean they don't work with doctors as well or others, and then there are the ones that are really they have an element of faith, an element of true trust, that know that there is a reality that is way bigger than them. The moment you really allow yourself to even play with the idea that you're really not totally in charge, not completely. There's actually something much bigger in charge, too. That kind of relationship, that kind of openness, these people are really, then we can do healing that's more advanced.
So pretty much once people establish some sort of level of common sense, because there are a lot of people that walk around and myself, that's where I was at. That you think you have certain things figured out, certain things in life figured out, and then life comes in and humbles you, because there's obviously something else in charge. I mean, a lot of us would like to stop a tsunami with our thoughts, but sometimes it just doesn't.
And it's also important to say that this shouldn't sound like it's the healer is not responsible for the healing, and it all depends on the client. Not at all. It's about the free will. The moment the person who goes to the healer, says, "Yes, I want to be healed," then the connection, the meeting of the healer, the power of the healer and the openness of the client can happen, and healing really takes place. But the healer can't do anything, because there would be manipulation. We are in a free will universe. So and so that has to be clear. Coming back to who are the perfect clients, the ones that choose truly to change something about their lives. It could be physically, emotionally, mentally.
So one could say sickness, could be partly, caused from wrongly wielding the free will. Saying I wish to, see the world a certain way. And I'm not saying, and I'm blaming anybody for anything.
It's really because we're unconscious.
Yeah, we're unconscious to how we're using our free will in a certain direction. And as we're on the spiritual path, we become more conscious of, I didn't realize I was doing that. Or
exactly.
I was energetically flinching, I call
exactly. it. Exactly. That's so true. Yeah, exactly. That's what happens. Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've talked a little bit about the different types of healing modalities and how they factor in, and what type of healing may apply to each person, what I want to ask you, and it's something that a lot of people are misunderstanding. They're doing a healing practice and they're saying, okay, I'm on the Enlightenment path, and then some people on the Enlightenment path are getting mixed up because they're saying, hey, my ego is not very pleasant. I'm experiencing all these negative symptoms of life. I'm not rich. That means I'm not enlightened. They have all these misconceptions. So. Where a healing person, success coach might heal somebody with their prosperity. They might actually look into their life and say, okay, these are some adjustments you need to make, and it doesn't mean the person's more enlightened, but at least they're more prosperous. So, there's all this mix-up stuff going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of the materialism in Western culture. So I just wanted to ask you, how does healing and enlightenment, like, where's the cross, how do they cross? Like, how do they really mix? What is the difference between the two, and how can one assist the other?
Yeah, healing and enlightenment, they're different in some way, and at the same time they do cross over. And the best way to describe it is that each individual is a separate entity. It's like a box, and when the box is very small, there's pain. And so healing can be giving this person more space. If we make the box bigger, they can breathe better, we furnish it better, we make it all prettier, the person is happier. So it's really evolving on the soul level, and also allowing belief systems to just disintegrate that are keeping the box really tight. But enlightenment is enlightenment is when you see through the illusion that this box will always be a limitation, that you will essentially be always separate from others, and that enlightenment is realizing that there is no box. It's when the drop of water is one with the ocean. And so the people that say, I'm seeking enlightenment, they're actually wanting that. They have sensed the limitation of the box, or like somebody said, like the Titanic is sinking. You can still renovate it, move furniture around, it's still going to sink. This boat will still sink
so
eventually.
Once you realize the inevitability of death,
yes,
the inevitability of the limitation of the box,
yes,
then you become an enlightenment seeker.
Exactly. An enlightenment seeker will face death right away and say, okay, I got to deal with this, and I have to see through the illusion of death. That who I am is eternal, never dies, was never born. And that's enlightenment. But healing is very valid as well, because not everybody is given that grace or seeking, that experience. So making the box bigger and letting more energy and flow move through, there's more flow, will contribute to more happiness and a better experience on planet Earth. But somebody starts with healing and might realize, like with you, oh my God, I actually want way more. And then there are those that say, oh, I want to really realize myself, and they realize, no, they actually don't want that. And that is just fine, because we all have our own path.
Well, I think how healing may work, from my own experience, is that you put nice artwork up in the box, you decorate it, you refine it, you make the box really pretty and perfect, you've got everything you ever want in the box, and then at some point you realize the box can actually be taken away from you. And they're like, whoa, I've wasted a lot of time fixing up this box.
Yeah, exactly. Because the box, we think of it as the mind, right? The mind is the box. And evolution will constantly move that box and expand it, like the way a child grows. But because the mind has this rigidity and wants to stay the same, it always works against that, and that is what causes the pain.
Oh, so you resist your own evolution.
Yeah, and somebody who wants to become enlightened will just say, I want to get past that resistance once and for all. What is resisting? Who is resisting? It's this mechanism that's based in gravity, and that expresses itself in the mind as this identity, and recognizing that that's actually not who I am, but I'm engaging with it constantly.
Yes, and that's what I try to say in a few of my videos, and I'm not sure if people notice it or not, but it's more about working with a process that's already happening instead of against it.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. You're naturally moving into enlightenment. We're all evolving, and because we have free will, we can evolve faster.
So really what you're working as is like a midwife.
Yeah.
You're really helping people just be born to deeper states of who they are.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So I know from experience that you work with, you do healing, and you also work with the enlightenment side of things. So you kind of have people sometimes confused because you do both sides of the coin. But on the healing side, what types of afflictions do you heal? What types of problems do people come to you with, and what have you had success with, and what are you open to working with, I guess?
Just a comment on the healing and the enlightenment. The thing is that my healing is based on the realization that I am. And so it always leads to that, but people can go as far as they like. So it's not that I use two methods. They're just one method. And so it's a very true healing based on reality. I don't really do the healing. God, the universe, is doing the healing. And so what kind of afflictions do I work with? You know, actually with everything. And it's difficult to say I work with everything because like what I heal everything. But the truth is that if I have water, let's say water is the universe and or the sun, like sunlight, you can put it on anything. I have a cup of water, I can pour it on one flower, I can pour it on everything else. So you can actually, healing affects everybody and everything. And so it could be physically, you know, it could be mentally, emotionally, and often it's interlinked. Like the physical diseases are always interlinked with mental, emotional issues. And if there are, or actually soul issues, a lot of soul issues, you know. So I basically check where it's really rooted. And I work with the cause right there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I've seen you work specifically with different types of afflictions. Sometimes it's the removal of darkness or entities in a person. Basically, they've got polar opposites of identification inside themselves going on.
Yeah.
Or I've seen you help somebody with their business.
Yeah.
All of a sudden attract more people that are in alignment with what they do. And then I've seen you work with cancer. So,
Yeah.
there are a lot of things that you work with, but
Yeah, because from that bird's eye view of the whole being, the whole universe, like it's like the way I move my body in unison and not just think of it as separate things. My identification with the all, it's all the same thing, really. Yes, if you go down to the denser vibrations, they manifest as different issues and different forms and shapes, but it's all the same thing.
it's like a rainbow. Like
Yeah.
when the light goes through a prism,
That's
it's,
right.
it's different colors. Yeah.
And in fact, I'd like to mention that, that I actually always heal myself because I am everything. So if somebody comes to me with a problem, that is my problem because I am them. And if I can't see the divinity and the truth in them, then I need to fix that in myself. So it has to do with that truly seeing what the reality is.
Everyone knows the paradigm of the wounded healer,
Uh-huh.
or the healer that is, working with spiritual type energies, but they're so sick, but yet they're healing other people.
And that's how 25 years ago, that's where I started as well. I noticed that I was very good with certain things that I was observing that as going through the years, that I was very good with certain things that I had healed in myself. And so so I was working, everything that I had sort of really got a handle on, would come into my office with the same problem. I'm like, oh, okay, that's easy because I had already healed it in myself,
Yeah.
It's a very shamans,
Sometimes it happens within 24 hours.
Yeah.
You feel something in yourself, like some feeling. I've seen you do that too, and then somebody shows up at the office with the same problem, right? So it's kind of funny, yeah.
I noticed it the first time with knee things. I think it was 1992. I've never had knee problem, but somehow my knee would hurt. And then maybe I hit myself somewhere on the couch or something, and then person with knee came in. 2 actually, I remember. And then something like that happened again. I thought, that's very interesting.
Yeah, with the knee problem.
Why is this happening?
Yeah. So, I guess the reason why I'm speaking to you today too is also about you've decided to put some things down in writing. Now, I've written a book about you called Awakening with Arathi Ma and about my interactions with you. And now you've decided to write a book of your own called The Value of Truth. At least that's the working title right now. So it's not up yet, but you're working on it.
Yeah.
So what is this book about and why did you decide to write it?
It really is a summary of how I heal, and to truly give people also an understanding that they can do that actually themselves, that the healing is happening within themselves if they're rooted in truth. And because, and especially this book is focusing on prosperity as well, because this is a real issue right now. And I know I started to write this book when Greece was going through the voting and the whole, economical crisis in Greece. And the people around me that are having money issues all the time. And, we live in very, very difficult times in that regard. So I wanted to make clear that there's a way of healing prosperity that is kind of a little distorted and serves the ego or the selfishness of the person, that is founded on a paradigm of separateness. And then there is that who we really are, this whole universe is prosperous. I mean, when you look at nature, it just produces fruit in abundance. It doesn't say, oh, I should only have 2 fruits on my tree, or I should only have 2 flowers. No, it just blossoms everywhere. The grass is everywhere. So we are the same. We're essentially wired to be completely abundant. We are abundance. And so this book is about realizing that truth, that when you know how to be in your core and in the center of your heart, that you are actually receiving and expressing exactly what you need at that moment. And that will be very different for everybody. There isn't a particular right type of abundance or wrong type of abundance, or enough or not enough. You will actually come to that right place that is exactly in harmony with the universe. So, and that's true for everything else, also health and everything else. But the book does focus on the prosperity aspect. So there's a little spider walking on you, and I thought, well, maybe we'll just take it out.
It's about writing a book, actually. Spiders and shamanism, about writing.
Exactly, spiders have to do with writing. So there you go. You should write another book too, probably.
Yeah, I guess I'm supposed to write one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, you're saying that prosperity will have different definitions for each person. There's not just because there's this overindulgence that's like, if you have $1 billion cash and a Bentley, then somehow you're successful, and it's
no. In fact, because you have to have that right prosperity point for you, the true point for you, that is your truth. If you have too much, it creates stress, actually. It will actually give you misery and illness in some way. It will put you out of line with the universe, and it will always create pain. So too much will be pain, and too little will be pain. And that point will constantly change as you evolve. And you have to know how to be inside of yourself while you're connected to the infinite. So that is basically really in a nutshell, that you can take it as far as about prosperity, or you can take it further into the full enlightenment and experience, and know that you are the abundance and all the universes in those. I mean, there's no limit to that. But essentially, I'm talking this more on a practical level for people, because everybody is in a scarcity thinking that it's separate. Money is separate, but your core is the source of the money. I know it sounds so strange, but everything is birthed from you. Everything is birthed from us. And if it's painful, we need to recycle it back into the core and rebirth it again, a new version of it. We've done it as children and as teenagers. Then we have rebirthed ourselves and our reality. But it can be done in a conscious way, where you actually really use it. You can do it with mastery. You can't do it just by coincidence. Like, how did that happen? How did you become from a child to a teenager? How did that work? Obviously, there was a lot of pain when you became a teenager, because there's always so much stress around, being a teenager, because there was no mastery in it. It was forced on you. But when you know how to evolve consciously, it can actually be so satisfying. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, I'll definitely post a link for the book when it does come out, and I'll announce it anyway, so everybody, all my subscribers here will know. But, I also have Arathi Ma's website down below, and I'll have a link or an annotation to her YouTube channel as well. Now, she doesn't upload on there as much as I do here, but she will have some content up there to share what's going on in her spiritual process and with her healing, and I don't know what other types of content you want to put on your YouTube channel.
We'll see.
But yeah, we'll see what goes on there. But yeah, thanks for being on here.
Thank you very much.
I see you every day, and I'm always in the woods doing
it's actually, I'm very, very happy, grateful that we did this, and for you listeners, sharing into this conversation, because it's just very different when we actually speak with the audience that will be hearing this than just having a conversation between the two of us.
But it feels so official. I'm sitting here in an interview with the person I live with, So
yeah, I guess,
yeah. Great. Okay. Well, thanks for watching.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Oh, you're still here. Okay, so if you wish to subscribe to the channel, if you haven't already, I'll put a subscribe button right here, okay? And if you wish to watch another video, I'll put a video link right here, so you can just take a look. And if you want to make sure you get the latest updates and notifications in your email when I upload a new video, What you do is just go below this video and just click on the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already, and then right beside it there's a little gear icon. It looks like a little gear. Click on that and then check the box that says send me notifications. So I hope that helps, and I'll talk to you soon.